Feminists never really have any logic behind their arguments, and their arguments never really make any sense because they're just not based on reality. You find often that when you debate feminists, they either run away or they resort to name calling. They call you an incel, they call you this, or they start just kind of making things up, or they just make up feminist theory and they start throwing around words like the patriarchy as if that somehow explains anything. And that's what happened to me at the Speaker's Corner, which you're going to see in a second. I was listing how boys and men were behind. Boys are behind in school, men are more likely to be homeless, etc. And then someone in the crowd said, "Isn't that the patriarchy?" Take a look.
Woman and a 25-year-old man, on average, a female graduate will earn more than a male graduate. Women are more likely to own their own home. They're more likely to earn their own car. And the fact that men are more likely to be homeless, if men were economically privileged, why would men be more likely to be homeless?
Because throughout society...
That's because of the patriarchy itself.
But how? But wouldn't the patriarchy reward male workers?
Well, in terms of homelessness, it's because of this stigma that men shouldn't... It's in terms of homelessness, why more men are usually homeless than women is because of this, well, the patriarchy and the stigma that men aren't supposed to ask for help. So,
did he seriously just say that homeless men are homeless because they don't want to ask for help? Like, is that seriously feminist logic? So all the guys holding up signs saying, "Please help Hungary," all the guys who go to the council to apply for housing and denied, all the guys who try and wait in line for the shelters, and there are very few homeless shelters for men in London, and they actually charge money to go there too. But no, they're saying the reason why men are more likely to be homeless is because they don't want to ask for help because of the patriarchy. Again, feminists just make this stuff up. But anyway, so wait a minute. The patriarchy is what gives men privilege, but also hurts men as well? And then feminists say, yes, patriarchy hurts men too. But then where does the privilege come from? And then feminists will say, well, it's because men created this system. So men created the patriarchal system that hurts men too. The problem with that is in a lot of cases, it's feminist organizations who have supported laws that hurt men and boys. In fact, in London, very specifically, feminists were adamant that homelessness should be approached through a gendered lens, where homeless women would be prioritized over homeless men. So, is that the patriarchy's fault? Is it feminism invoking the patriarchy or strengthening the patriarchy? Wasn't it feminists who called for women-only food lines in Haiti after the disaster? Don't feminists support policies that prioritize women and consider women more vulnerable? Don't feminists support the Duluth model that says women should be assumed to be the victims because women are more vulnerable in situations of domestic violence? So when you look at patriarchy and feminism, they kind of start to look exactly the same. Because the same things that feminists claim patriarchy enforces, like the same gender stereotypes that feminists claim patriarchy enforces, feminists in fact actively work towards every single day. But putting that aside, how exactly is patriarchy to blame for men and boys being behind if it's supposedly a system that puts men and boys ahead of women? It just makes no sense. And this is why we need to be more direct when it comes to debating feminists and calling them out. Because they really don't have anything to say. All they have are buzzwords and little lines that they've memorized and that repeats, and then they all upvote each other on Twitter, and therefore it looks like they know what they're talking about. And a lot of them are very insidious and narcissistic, and they're very good at debating, and they're very slick at using certain terminology and speaking very quickly and cutting people off and sounding as if what they're saying makes sense. But the thing about feminist theory is it's completely made up. A feminist academic in the 60s writes a paper, and then a feminist academic in the 70s cites that paper, and all of a sudden it becomes valid social science. It's just not. When you really break down feminist logic, like saying, why are boys falling behind in school and why are men more likely to be homeless? oh, because of the patriarchy, is absolutely nonsensical and ridiculous. So anyway, thanks for watching.